So today we'll be going through some of the things which first let us just go back to some of the previous topics we did. We were talking about vulnerable population. So vulnerable population is typically the populations which are going to get disproportionately affected when there is a disaster. Okay, in particular since we are talking about disaster, we are talking about the people who get disproportionately affected when there is a disaster. And we specifically saw that there were women, children, and also the senior citizens who are more vulnerable than others. Okay, one of the biggest things is many of the men are likely to be affected by psychological problems. Maybe like if you look at your father, although they may not be expressing very much what is the anguish which they are facing or the fears they are having, they are also people who, like men typically, they tend to bottle up all their personal crisis. They don't like to show that they are weak. Even I'm like that. Okay, I'm showing that I'm all big and great with all of you, but even I feel that there are certain things that cause distress to me. So now the main thing is that psychological is something related to the mind, how the mind perceives something, how the mind is going to take off with the whole thing. Okay, so then we talked about rehabilitation, and again as we talked about it, the gender, geography, and culture plays a very important role. Okay, and many of the times we work as a society. Okay, so these are some of the things we were talking about. Now on that was on Saturday, where we were saying that we need to take care of it as a community. Okay, so we took the fishing community which was there, which we saw, and since it was more or less like an equal community which was supporting each other, right, it was very easy for us to, it was no competition. I was bigger before the disaster, so when my house is going to be rebuilt, it has to be bigger. Or there were people who were saying, this happened when we went to Parangipete. One lady was shouting, I am belonging to the ruling party. If any house is going to be built before mine, I am going to do this and that against the NGO with which I was working. It was surprising because even district officials were there. We were all not able to do much. So then we were talking about how gender plays a very important role, sensitizing the people, and specifically we talked about the role of women, because women typically tend to be more caring about the family, about the children in the family. So when the child is feeling protected, a lot of good things typically happen. That is, the recovery from a traumatic event is easy. So again we talked about timely assistance, and then we also need some follow up. Okay, follow up on how this fund was used, whether something else is to be done or something could be done better. Okay, so these are all some of the things which you can think about. So in essence, when there is a disaster, I am very general in putting this. It could be natural disaster, it could be other things. First and foremost, you will find that there is a social impact. Firstly, there is a social impact. Then you also have a economic impact. Okay, see, I will again use the pandemic as a example. In South India, there's a place called Nagarkoil. In Nagarkoil, this is somewhere close to the place where I am. So I get a lot of news. Parents are telling the children, please don't come. Other relatives are saying, like, if they come, as a community, they prevented people from entering into their district. Automatically, the virus became greatly controlled. My cousin is living in Kerala. So, like, yeah, she is more or less a Malayali. She was telling how disciplined the people were there in the mall, how disciplined people were there in when they were gathering, like having a bath. By nature, if you see, people from Kerala are typically much more clean than others, bathing morning, evening, keeping themselves clean, having a pleasing what you call as appearance. So that's what I'm putting as I'm taking that as a simple case study. I'm not putting that others are not doing it, but these people are doing it more consciously, and you'll find that the rate of what you call as the impact is much lesser. Again, I can talk more about my own people, right? My state, Tamil Nadu, if I put, nobody is going to feel hurt. So I'm just putting it in terms of Tamil Nadu. Again, Parangipete, where I told that lady was shouting, that's also a place from Tamil Nadu. Okay. The other very important thing is the economic impact of a disaster. Then there is also some political impact. So I'm not going to go and talk about politics. Each of you can take your own decision as to how things are happening, which is right, which is wrong, we don't know, and I don't want to even talk about it. See, there is also an environmental impact. Sometimes it's adverse, sometimes it is good. How many of us think about the case of the animals suffering because of a natural disaster? If it's a forest fire, there's a huge loss of habitat. So many species could go extinct. So many species might not have even been discovered in some of the places where there were forest fires. So you will find that the nature of disaster can go much more. So in fact, there are people who are feeding, some of your own friends, feeding the animals like dogs and other creatures which were dependent on the waste from hotels and other places which they didn't get post the disaster. So this is another very important thing, and of course there's a very big impact on health. So when we are talking about recovery, whenever we are talking about mitigation, okay, whenever we are talking about prevention, we will have to be sensitive about all of these things, because what is acceptable in one society is not going to be acceptable in all of the other aspects of societal norms, right? Now when we are let's move on a little beyond. Let us think about the community rehabilitation. Okay, now typically what happens is, in any disaster there is always the fear of something. Okay, fear of something. When I say fear, it can be fear of loss of a house, fear of loss of property, fear of loss of position, fear of so many other things. Okay, so fundamentally how we are going to remove these fears is the biggest challenge. Okay, the fear is going to cause a lot of emotions, which is a thing of the mind, and we will relate it to psychology. Okay, so we will be talking about so this is coming to psychology. Okay, so what happens is, the first thing which we need to do is, we need to give whoever we are targeting a sense of what we call as they should feel comfortable, right? So typically there is what you call as a thing called shock. Okay, so what is this shock? The moment something bad happens, the body goes into a coping mechanism called shock. So it can be like it can be due to physical injury, or even due to an emotional trauma. Okay, emotional trauma could be something like seeing your loved one die, and typically what happens is, the people start to feel, had I done something, would it have been a different outcome? If I had done something, would it have been a different outcome? Will that person still be alive? Will this bad thing not have happened? Right? So when people go through this kind of trauma, okay, there are two aspects which psychologists put: shock and denial. So they'll not be able to accept that something bad has happened. Okay, now my dilemma is that do I go in for case studies, or do I just keep going with the what do you call as the general general steps which we go ahead. Okay, so this is usually the way by which human beings uh, take a what you call as take a decision, go ahead with a rough situation, right? So usually what we try to do is, we the psychologists have called this as PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder. Okay, so when you see, like when there is a loss of life, when there is a loss of property, okay, when there's probably a loss of status and loss of friends, okay, so many times, friends are fair weather, okay, you are not having what do you call as the same kind of money which they have, or same kind of this one what you have, then they are different. Okay, so these are some of the very important things which is there. And there is another very important thing called survivor's guilt. Okay, so as I was telling you, had I done something, would it have taken a different what you call as outcome? That is typically called as survivor's guilt. Okay, so basically what happens when you lose all of these things, you may have also what is called as a feeling of identity loss. Okay, so if you look at our own friends, look at all our Facebook and LinkedIn profiles, they will put president of so on, like something nice, such and such club, such and such chapter. Maybe that's nothing, but for that person it is linked to their way they want to be identified. All of a sudden that identity has gone. Okay, so what are the main things that these people feel? These people have a what you call as they are having what is called as this shock and denial. So they typically feel like, whoever is coming out of a disaster, they feel grief. Okay, what is grief? It is going to be a very great sense of sadness. Okay, then there is a sense of panic. So if you look at, like a situation where a child is suddenly feeling that whatever was the security that he or she had is gone, there is going to be a deep sense of panic. Okay, so till now food, clothing, shelter, everything was there, but now all of that is gone. Okay, so this is going to be associated with intense feeling of panic, grief, panic. These are two things which are there, which come almost like, immediately after this one, after a tragedy. Of course there is also the sense of loss, which I am linking to the life, property, friends, and again, the loss of identity. Okay, and they have a lot of fear. If you see a child, like I'm talking from my own experience with my own children, when there's a thunder, when there's a lightning, there are two things you can do. Okay, see, when I was small, my parents, my mother will tell, don't touch anything made of steel, lightning could strike you. So it was all associated with bad things. And I for example, I told them, okay, when there's a big lightning, start to count. So when you count, you can the time between the lightning and the thunder, you'll know whether the storm is coming towards you or going to go away from you. So you see, the main thing is that the same problem what I mean, like, how you can deal with this, totally different. This is more or less like, what I call as a personal, on a very personal note I'm putting. But here what happens, the fear is much more deep rooted. Okay, see, I am trying to remove the fear by before the occurrence of something, like, where they get very afraid of lightning and other things. I'm trying to remove the fear. Now just imagine a child who has experienced any of the bad stuff, even an adult. Okay, it is going to be very sad. In Nagapattinam, when the tsunami came, there was one person called Mr. Parameswaran. You can go and look at his story in the web. It's very challenging. He was playing with his children in the beach. When the tsunami struck, he lost a child who was also he was holding too, but somehow he clung on to the coconut tree, and then he saved his life, but he couldn't save the lives of his children. And his wife, Mrs. Sudamani, was also I mean, like, when they realized the loss, instead of grieving over the loss, I mean, they would have definitely grieved. I'm not going to go into the emotional part of it, but they went around collecting all the children who were looking lost and displaced. They brought them to their house, took care of them, and now they are, they are running a nice facility for such children, okay, giving them a more homely atmosphere than what they would have had in other places. Okay, now what I'm trying to put across here is, can you think about all the emotions which these people would have gone through? This is what I want to put across. So each of the child who would have been rescued would have had a lot of fear and other trauma, which is going to be very, very soon. See, this is what I think we will call as sadness. Okay, it's going to cause a huge amount of sadness, and one of the main things is that you will find that they are going to suffer some of the some of the common things which has been generalized by the term PTSD. Okay, now I'm just going to ask you guys, if suppose you have some what we call as some point which you'd like to share. Okay, so, or if you have any question on this is a very general thing. It is more of psychology than anything else. Okay, and right, let me go on. See, I'm just peeping over just in case my children come out. I don't want them to be hearing something that could frighten them, basically. Okay, one of the main things which people have is nightmares. Okay, do you have nightmares? Sometimes I also have nightmares. Okay, when your mind is very afraid of something, okay, you are going to get nightmares. Okay, and nightmares is nothing but a very bad dream which seems very real. Okay, many of these people are going to be very irritable. Okay, sometimes they are also very reserved. Okay, so when we went to visit the people who are affected by tsunami, so many people are just sitting, they're staring, they're not able to talk. Okay, how are you going to comfort these people? You will not be able to bring them to, I mean, how are you going to make them to come to terms? Okay, how are you making them come to terms? So many times they will not be able to communicate their problem. Okay, this especially happens to very small children. They know that there is something, but they don't know what is it that they have lost. I mean, it can be a simple thing. They are afraid of what you call as not knowing where the food is going to come from for the next meal, but they don't know how to ask it. They don't know what to tell. So this is one of the very important things which happens when we work with people in distress. See, I don't know how many of you sitting in my class listening to this lecture are facing this problem, where you don't know what is it that is affecting you, right? It may be that in some of the cultures it is that men should not cry. It is okay if women cry, but men should not cry. This is one of the things which happen. Like, again, boys should not play with dolls, girls should not play with this one. So this is what we call as gender type stereotyping. And believe me, when my wife and I buy this one, we don't hesitate to buy boys a doll or to give a girl a truck. Okay, because that's something which I find that I mean, like, I don't know, that's the thing. I feel that we should kind of break the gender stereotype. If somebody likes something, that's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't mean that you should put it in a box and say this is how society should live. Now, coming back to the point, because people are not able to share their troubles, because men are supposed to be strong, men fall into the psychological trap. Similar way, there will be problems which women are also facing, so they are not able to get over certain things. Okay, so this kind of keeps them reserved. They are not able to communicate, right? It can here first initially I put only with children, but this can be something which can be extended to other things also. Another very important thing is people have anxiety and panic attacks. Okay, ANXIETY. Okay, so just there's a small spelling mistake over here, so please bear with me. So they'll start to worry, they'll have anxiety, they can have what is called as panic attacks. Okay, panic attack was very beautifully illustrated by somebody, and I also realized that many times we do that. Which is your seat in the train? You get into the Shatabdi to Chennai, C3, C3, C352, C352, right? And then afterwards, when you get into the train, also you look into the ticket, C352. You are kind of panicky, right? So this is what will be of greater manifestation in the people who are who have gone through a very big trauma. Another very important thing is depression. Okay, so they will shut them out from everything else. Okay, they are not they come out of a very bad thing, but again there could be memories. When I was living in that house, I had 10 servants, my cars. See, a rich person could also get affected by trouble as much as a poor person. So I had this, I had that. It is all not available. Okay, so this depression can cause so many other things, maybe be the trigger for any of the things which we spoke about over here, right? Worry, anxiety and other things. And the worst thing which I personally will say is, many times these people start to become people who abuse substances. Okay, so when I say abuse substances, it can be a drug. Maybe this drug was administered at the time when they were very depressed to make them come little normal, or yeah, so there is a thing that medicines are also called drugs. It can be alcohol, it can be any of the other bad things which are floating, cocaine, heroin or marijuana. Any of the other stuff also will be coming into this one. So some of the things which also happen is, there is a thing that even many people start to eat lot of food which may not be healthy. Okay, so if suppose you have started to put on lot of weight during this period, this COVID period, mainly because of inactivity, or because like, I don't know if you have noticed, I also noticed, if I'm not in a correct frame of mind, like you just start to pop chips or something into your mouth, you keep eating, so that is also not very, very good. Okay, so depression, panic attacks, anxiety, worry, being reserved, being not able to communicate. Okay, then see, another thing is, you can also get addicted to Netflix and other things. Okay, binge watching, like for example Netflix or anything, I don't know what else is there, Amazon Prime, Google, YouTube. Okay, and whatever is that for you, you can put that here. Okay, and worry, anxiety, panic attack, and lack of sleep, what is sleep disorders. we call it as sleep disorders, right? So depression, I'll also add one more thing, withdrawing from people, okay, not talking with the husband, not talking with wife not talking with husband, children not able to talk with parents, not able to talk with friends, not able to interact with anybody, okay. So all of these things are what you call as are all some of the effects of these are all things which affect individuals. And biggest thing is what happens to self-esteem, okay. How do you picture yourself, okay? There is a picture where a pussycat looks at a mirror, and there you see the reflection, there is a lion. So basically how you see yourself makes a very big difference, okay. Again, another very important thing is inability to take decisions, okay. I don't know where to put it, but indecision, this is a very big thing. You don't trust a decision which you are going to take. You are likely to procrastinate. Procrastinate means put away something which you could have done yesterday or some other time, right? So basically these are some of the effects, psychological effects on an individual, right? And society at large also is going to be affected. So there is a social impact, there is an economic impact, political impact, and also there is some environmental thing which happens beside the community health at large. So when you look at the problem of disaster, the post disaster stress syndrome or post traumatic stress disorder is something which is very, very sad, okay. PTSD, so PTSD actually stands for post traumatic stress disorder, okay. So it can manifest itself in so many ways, okay. Now since we are able to identify many of these things, what happens is we try to get the community to sit together, okay. We try to get the community to sit together. What does this mean? It means that we try to make all the stakeholders to come and sit together. So typically it will be the let us say that there is a NGO which is working, so it starts to keep things like group activities. So what could be the group activities? For example, among children they find making them draw. So when they draw something, you will find that they are trying to bring out whatever is hidden in their heart. So they try to observe what this child is drawing, and then they try to what you call as interpret what is going in the mind of the child or the adult or whoever is taking the therapy, and then they try to do it, okay. Then some of the things they also have is have things like debate, street plays, okay. And there can also be individual counseling, okay. Individual counseling means like they can have a doctor see the physical illness, okay. Physical illness, like if suppose they have broken their bones, they have some other problem, okay, these are addressed. In addition to this, we also try to see the other psychological help which we can render to the individuals. So many times these people have to be slowly brought out into the open, slowly made to accept, okay, accept that life is still worth living, okay. Basically they have lost whatever they believed in or whatever they were comfortable with, okay. So today if you see, we have a word called as the new normal. Okay, so what we have to do is we need to see how we can accept the new normal. For many of you, especially those of you who are in final year or who are in third year, the new normal is something which is frightening. Work from home. You always seen your parents go to office and do their work. What is this work from home? You've seen your parents get a paycheck or a salary every month, but then there's a chance that this is going to change. What are you going to do? How are you going to adapt? Okay, but one of the good things is human beings are very good at adapting. It means that you and I can still go beyond all of this. Okay, it is not the end of the world. It is definitely not the end of the world. You need to kind of see what you can do, and probably I will say that if you are having a threat, okay, convert that. How you are going to convert the threat into an opportunity? Okay, converting your threats into opportunities is probably the very big thing. Okay, so suppose you are working with any of the people who are suffering from very harsh condition. What is it that you are looking at? When you are looking at PTSD, it could have been due to the illness on the person. Okay, see, I still remember when I was like 2 years into my marriage, I suffered typhoid. Fortunately, I had taken a health plan. It would have screwed me otherwise. Had I not taken the health plan, it would have screwed me. Like whatever was my premium, I got about 4 or 5 times the premium which I paid. That number I remember. Okay, and afterwards what happened is, during the recovery period, I think I was in the hospital for few days, and post that, when I went out of the hospital, there were days when like you could not, there were a certain number of medical leave which I had. That leave got exhausted. So I was what you call as facing the double thing, like one side it was the sickness, another thing was the loss in income. So that is a very big thing which happens, which caused a lot of trouble. So what happens to what does the illness do to the person? What happens to a person who is having a death of a close friend or relative? Okay, I'll put as a friend or relative itself. Sometimes friend's death is more affecting a person than the death of a relative. Okay, so it is very difficult to say which is going to be very difficult. So illness, death, injury, okay, then separation from family. This usually is a very big thing for children. Adults also it affects, but I'm just putting it as separation from family. These are all very important things with which you are going to probably talk with the people. Okay, in addition to this, loss of property, loss of house, loss of the place where they lived in, landslide and other things, very sudden. So how are you going to go and talk with these people? So of course there are a lot of skilled people who can work on these people. Okay, but if you are going to what you call as be called to talk with these people, how will you be able to work? Will you be able to empathize with them, right? And probably other thing is coping, like in addition to coping, coping skill is one thing. Again, another thing is keeping them prepared. Okay, in the event that another earthquake occurs, if you do all of these things, you are going to be safe. In the event of one more landslide or a pandemic, if you do all of these things, you are going to be safe. Okay, so these are some of the things which you can probably think about when we are going to go and work with a group of people who are affected by a tragedy. Okay, so I sincerely hope that you found this session what you call as as a mind opener, and if you have any questions, I'll take the questions now, please.